Welcome to 1 Minute History, where I'm reading from my book I wrote for homeschoolers called A Bible Believer Looks at World History. We're going to discuss briefly the fall of man and move into our history, maybe a little bit longer than a minute, but generally that's what time frame I'm trying to mold this around. So let's begin. You can get you can access my book on lulu.com, amazon.com, or the Bible Baptist Bookstore. So, since this is not a course on Bible doctrine, but on history, I will only touch briefly on the fall of man and woman in Genesis 3. There are two key verses from an historical point of view. The first is verse 15, the second is verse 24. Satan's attempt to counterfeit the prophecy of the virgin birth of the Messiah in verse 15 is the root of virtually all of the earth's religions in prideful and vain attempt to thwart the last part of the verse. Speaking to Satan, the pre-incarnate Jesus Christ, the living word, capital W, and God says, "And I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel." First, it must be noted that originally, according to Bienkowski and Millard's Dictionary of the Ancient Near East, University of Pennsylvania Press, 2000, the goddess Ishtar, who plays an extremely important role in history as a manifestation of Satan himself, was portrayed as a male deity in Venus as the morning star, and as the evening star, a goddess. The devil went on to become the biblical Ashtoreth. Finally, thousands of years later, in the Luciferian Madame Blavatsky's book, The Secret Doctrine, it is called Lucifer as Christ, the bright and morning star, page 540, volume 2. The mother and child motif of ancient religions after the flood cannot be dismissed if we are to understand history as it is tied to the Bible. There is a book called The Two Babylons by Alexander Hislop. It's controversial. Some people don't take it very seriously, but in chapter 2, section 2, there's this eye-opening quote I want to finish with. The Babylonians in their popular religion supremely worshipped a goddess mother and a son, who was represented in pictures and images as an infant or child in his mother's arms. From Babylon, this worship of the mother and child spreads to the ends of the earth. In Egypt, the mother and child were worshipped under the names of Isis and Osiris. In India, even to this day, as Isi and Iswara. In Asia, as Sybil and Diois. In pagan Rome, as Fortuna and Jupiter Pure, or Jupiter, the boy. In Greece, as Ceres, the great mother with the babe at her breast, or as Irene, the goddess of peace, with the boy Plutus in her arms. And even in Tibet, in China, Japan, the Jesuit missionaries were astonished to find the counterpart of Madonna and her child as devoutly worshipped as in papal Rome itself. Xingmu, the Holy Mother in China, being represented with a child in her arms and a glory around her, exactly as if a Roman Catholic artist had employed her to set it up. So we'll start with man being kicked out of Eden next. And I hope you get something out of this. And if you don't agree with me, that's fine. Just put it in the comments. That's great. That's how I learn. Take care.